Good morning, Comanche Nation. It is March the 6th. We are in the second month of our second quarter of this fiscal year of 2021. This morning, if I could have our Secretary Treasurer, please do a roll call, sir.
We are in the second month. All right. William Nelson Sr.,
I am here.
Lenora J. Parker,
Here.
June Sovo, Diana Gale Sovo Doyabai,
Here.
Alice Kasnavoid,
Here.
Robert Komachi Jr.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, well, let's do business. Before we do that, CBC 2, could I ask you to give a prayer for the day, those traveling in, those traveling out, that we could stay in great decorum today and get business done, if you would.
Okay. I have a question before I do,
Yes.
because I would like to have time on the agenda and amend that. You want me to do that after we pray?
Sure.
Okay. Our most kind, gracious, good Lord, we come to you today, and we give you, first of all the praise and the glory for that beautiful sunshine you give us today. We thank you for the breath of life that you have given everyone here today, and we thank you for your comforting angels as they go to our different members of our tribe and loved ones who have lost their loved ones or who have people in the hospital, dear Lord. You be with them, comfort them, and give them strength. Heal their bodies, if it's thy will, that they could get up and go home to their folks again, dear Lord. We ask that you watch over our servicemen wherever they might be, whether they're here or overseas, dear Lord. You take care of them. And if it's thy will, bring them back home to thy family. And we ask that you grant leaders all over the world patience for their people, considerateness for their people, dear Lord. Guide them in the days as they go through, and give them guidance for their countries, not just theirs, ours, all over, as we face this pandemic as it continues. We ask that we continue to gather strength from you and come to you with all our problems. And we thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon our tribe and our tribal people and the folks everywhere, making ways for them in little ways to help them make it along. And we ask your special guidance today, dear Lord. Watch over our people as they travel to and from their destinations. Give them traveling mercies. I ask that you might let them find their home in a better way than when they left. And just make a way for us all, dear Lord, today. Guide us as leaders for our nation. Give us the right thoughts. Give us clarity. Give us the courage to stand up and lead our people in the right way and in a way that's good for our people, and that we all keep in mind what's best for our people, dear Lord. Put it in our hearts to go forward in a positive way from here and there. And as I said, just give us good thoughts and clarity, and help us make good decisions for our Comanche Nation, for our people, and be with leaders again all over the world. And we thank you from the bottom of our heart, dear Lord, that you give us these things to sit down as an humble person and ask your guidance, ask your grace, sometimes ask your forgiveness, dear Lord. And today, I thank you for our ancestors, that they can come and we can call upon you and the God-given things that you give us as Native American people to help us along to live with the world, live with nature, and not destroy it. And I take a little moment of silence here for those that have lost loved ones, just for a little bit, that we might gather and then go forward again. Although our hearts might be heavy, dear Lord, again, guide us as we go. Give us the words today, whether our tasks are minimal, whether our tasks are mighty. Give us good guidance. And again, thank you for the beautiful day and the breath of life. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we're going to go to a point of order instead of going to the minutes just yet. Yes. Okay. And everybody, if you're going to speak, I guess you got to get right in that microphone for our transcriptionist. Okay. We were handed a resolution of 26/2021, and it's about the proclamation. And this goes along with FEMA. We do have to declare an Oklahoma emergency, well, actually, a disaster area of the actual ice storm. I mean, we've been hit by so many things, pandemic, then the ice storm, and that's what this is. Is that right, TA?
Yes.
Okay, we have a declaration because we've had water lines just breaking everywhere. But at this time, I'd like to go to CBC too, and she wanted to amend the agenda to put an item on there. So, if you would, ma'am.
To make the motion to amend the agenda, I'd like to have time just before we start into our resolutions to speak to you and include these resolutions
Okay, and the subject?
on today's agenda, yes. My motion was to amend the agenda and allow me to speak just before we start the resolutions, and also to add these to today's agenda.
Okay, so you wanted to speak before we started business?
Yeah, after
Okay.
we do minutes.
All right. The business committee, if we could do that part, Donna Gale does want to speak to us. And if we could add resolution number 26-2021 to the very bottom of the agenda. And that's the motion on the table. Could I please get a second?
I second.
Seconded by Alice Casnavoy. All those in favor for this action, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Donna Gill, you have the floor.
All right. We have just finished going through some audit. You know, we have that yearly every year, and we as leaders of our nation, I'd like to talk to you this morning, my fellow colleagues, as well as our none people, because when we were brought into office, we all, according to the Constitution, we take that oath before we start performing our elected duties. And part of that oath is to defend and protect our Constitution, our tribal members, our nation's assets as we go forward and do business for our tribe. In doing so, it has come to our attention during the audit, questions were asked to our Secretary Treasurer, Mr. Wani, and he did his investigations and he brought some items forward to our committee. And as a committee, it is our duty to respond and look into these things, and our job to, in the best way that we can, if we find something that is not right, or maybe we've done something that's out of compliance with our Constitution, then it's up to us to try and correct that and do it the best way we can. And I've asked Ms. Shandell, if you have those packets ready, please pass them out. The Secretary Treasurer asked if I could help bring this forward. We have some items that need to be discussed this morning. I think so. And in doing our duties and our due diligence, it is up to us to look at each one of these and go forward and take corrective action. And I'll give you just a minute what is contained in this packet. There were some questionable actions that were found, and some of them contains movement of money. Some of them contains actions that were done outside the quorum, not in a legal Like today, we're sitting in a legal quorum to do business. There were actions taken outside of that legal quorum. And also, these are the things that we need to discuss and look at. These are the black and white documentations to this resolution that I am going to read. It says, whereas the Comanche Nation is a federally recognized Indian tribe with a constitution approved by the Secretary of the Interior, January 9, 1967, within which Article 6, Section 7 establishes the Comanche Business Committee as the duly elected official body designated to conduct business for and on behalf of the Comanche Nation. And whereas the members of the Business Committee are sworn by an oath to defend, protect, and safeguard the Comanche Nation's Constitution, members, as well as the nation's asset, and whereas the Secretary-Treasurer discovered highly questionable financial actions upon which he has performed his duty of due diligence by informing the rest of the Comanche Business Committee members. And whereas the following findings of the Secretary-Treasurer thus far are, number 1, contracts initiated and signed by the chairman outside of a legal quorum and no legal review by the tribal attorney under false information to our Comanche Business Committee. Number 2, actions directed without a legal quorum, vote of the Comanche Business Committee or their knowledge. 3, illegal movement of funds from the 60% tribal operating accounts to the 40% per cap account in excess of $3 million, a direct violation of the Constitution and the RAP. Number 4, discovery of bank accounts unknown to the Comanche Business Committee, debit cards on account 7474 at Bank First still open after actions to terminate said accounts, questionable charges to these accounts. And there has been changes to the Comanche Business Committee approved proposed 2021-22 budget line items after we conducted hearings. And incidentally, that was addressed at the last meeting. We had to correct those amounts and then approve our proposed budget. And that leads us to now, therefore be it resolved, the following actions are taken by the Comanche Business Committee defending and protecting our nation's assets. Be it further resolved, the Comanche Business Committee hereby removes signatory authorities and suspends Chairman William Nelson Sr. indefinitely from doing or conducting any further actions, proposals, or business for and on behalf of the Comanche Nation, as well as representing Comanche Nation in any official capacity effective immediately. And be it finally resolved, William Nelson Sr. will need to turn in all Comanche Nation computer equipment, laptop, Surface, jump drives, keys, vehicle, cell phone immediately. He will not be eligible to seek any position of leadership with the Business Committee nor employment. Within Comanche Nation and or any of its entities pending the completion of further investigation. So be it. Certification resolution is adopted at a regularly scheduled meeting of the Comanche Business Committee held on the 6th of March, 2021.
So, do you have documented evidence of all these items here?
Yes, and I make the motion that we pass this resolution.
Well, before we do that, I'd like to go to legal counsel. Is this legal? Could somebody get the gentleman a microphone?
So the Constitution is pretty clear that the removal power of any officer is vested with the tribal council. So for that reason, I would say anything that is either a removal or a de facto removal would be unconstitutional. So if it would be to terminate or remove the chairman or to, suspend his payment or something like that. But this, I think, falls short of that bar, and the Constitution vests certain authorities with the business committee. And typically, just as a matter of tradition, that authority they give to the chairman, like signatory on contracts, signatory on bank accounts, and all those things are given to the chairman by the business committee, but it is constitutionally the power of the business committee as a group, and they have intramural power, to allocate that how they want. So unfortunately, I do think that this is a constitutional resolution. I think the one constitutional power the chairman has that can't be revoked is the power to preside over the monthly CBC meetings. But other than that, I think that any power can be suspended pending investigation.
Okay. Well, I do know it takes 3 committeemen to call a recall of the chairman, but most of these items, in my opinion, need to go to the court. This is America, where everybody is innocent until proven guilty, and I sure am getting T-bone like an accident of these charges here. These are actual charges. I can put it on the record today, and Leslie, make sure this is on the record. I have gone to the legal quorum on everything. If it's a motion passed, I'll sign. If it's a resolution passed, I'll sign. So all these charges here, I don't know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So y'all heard what the law is, so business committee, if y'all do want to pass this motion or resolution of hers, it's illegal. It's illegal to the Constitution.
No, it's not. We're not removing you. We're stopping actions until we can investigate into these things and see what's actually going on, which is our right as a business committee to do. We're not saying we're taking you out today. We're merely stopping some actions that were brought to our attention.
So do you concur with this, Secretary Treasurer? It seems like she's putting you as the lead prosecutor on this. Is that right?
No prosecutors.
I'm not prosecuting anybody, Chairman. My responsibility is to fulfill and watch out for, first of all, the Constitution, second of all, the assets of our nation. When things are brought to my attention, we look into it, we research it, we find documentation, and that's exactly what has been put together, I guess, here and submitted to you and members of the business committee. It's unfortunate that any of this occurred, very unfortunate, but we have to do what is right at all times for the good of our nation. And so with that, that's the only comment I have at this time.
I'm gonna go right back to legal counsel. I don't think we should be betraying court in a CBC meeting. That's why we have a court. I'd like to really ask you, shouldn't it be in review of the court? Because these are highly inflammable charges here. And like in the past, we didn't have a court and things went to the Bureau. I'm just going right back to your sworn oath of duty, CBC. You can remove me. It takes 3 of you to call for a recall. This action here is out of order.
Yeah, so again, I think that this resolution as written is constitutional. I think if this isn't, criminal charges or civil charges even, so therefore it's not a matter for the court itself, but this is an intramural CBC matter about how the CBC is going to allocate its constitutional authority, which if this resolution were passed, they would be deciding to revoke the chairman's authority to act on behalf of the CBC, which again, the Constitution does not speak to. What the Constitution speaks to is the chairman can't be removed. So anything, like I said, anything that is removal or de facto removal, I think would be unconstitutional, but I think this falls short of that.
Yeah, it does. Well, in 2010, I had a vice chairman that told me to go home. And being a good employee, like T.A. Mansky, I complied. I went home. They said I created some kind of some kind of disaster up here. What it was a simple emergency test, and it went awry. So there was no legal quorum to do it, but being a good employee, I went home. And then there was no legal quorum of further actions, and I'll be darned if I didn't stay home for a whole year. Still being paid, and it was wrong to still being paid, and it was wrong for me to even go home without a legal quorum. So I'm going to stick to my sworn oath, and I will not call for a vote on this because I'm still the chairman of the tribe. If you guys want to recall, do that action.
We have a motion on the floor. We're not
I won't
recalling
recognize
anybody.
it. I will
And
not recognize it.
You did yield the floor to me, and that motion was already made.
Motion made, but I will not move as the chairman of the tribe to go to a vote because it's illegal.
No,
Mr.
it's
Chairman,
not.
I have a question. How are we going to resolve this, in court or amongst ourselves?
I would hope that you guys, I really wish somebody could have sent this to me so I'd know. I mean, this is not right. I would never do this to you guys. I would openly talk to you. I talked to this man out here, and he told me, Donna Gale's got all these charges on you, and I'm not going to follow through on these things. Did you not tell me that?
That is correct.
Okay, so
The truth is the truth.
I'm just looking at everybody is innocent in America until proven guilty. Our Constitution says we do not abridge the United States Constitution. So all of this right here is everything that was in quorum, everything voted on. I will not sign one thing unless we go to quorum.
Sir, some of these contracts that were discussed were signed at a new business work session meeting. That is not a legal quorum.
Well, that's why we adjourned that meeting when John David brought that forward. Now the CBC before you, and the CBC before them, and the CBC before them, they all thought it was legal, and that's a 10-year precedent of the charter. They all thought it was legal, but all of a sudden it's not legal.
I'd like to make a comment.
Sure.
This was brought to our attention about these points. Just like Secretary of Treasury brought the point against of those contracts, and the point he made. We looked into it, we listened to it, and made a decision. I think as elected officials, we need to look into these. If there's merit, then we deal with it. If there's no merit, then we so says go on. But seeing these are brought to our attention, I think as elected officials, we have no alternative but to look into them and see if these are documents that came from audits, wherever they came from. There must have been some kind of legality to them, or they wouldn't have showed their face. So I think we need to look into it. Sue.
Well, everybody that's out in the live stream, and all I can tell the Comanche people, we're sworn to an oath. Every audit we've had has been good. Every audit we've had in county has been good. We still don't have an audit on this thing, Comanche Nation Enterprises still don't, because we are on thin ice as that. And when John David brought that forward in the meeting of the special meeting, he was right. We are illegal within, I never thought of it that way because it's always been an inherited idea, be it the Wallace Coffey administration, be it the Michael Burgess administration, be it the Johnny Walkway administration, be it when Miss Cawthorn was chairman, and when I became chairman, it's just been done as that. So who am I to buck a system, right? So all of these things that you're saying on per cap accounts and all that was the last Secretary Treasurer. There's a lot of people involved with this. So I'm going to stick by the Constitution and go to the next resolution, and I will ignore this motion on the table. So let's open our book and let's go to the minutes of this meeting of...
Mr. Chairman, before you
Yes.
go forth, I would just like to make a suggestion on this.
Sure.
That we all sit down together and go over these 6 items line by line with our legal counsel present and talk these over and see what evidence there is or if there's none at all. And then let him decide whether this goes to court or not, because I think
even
we
that,
need to discuss
that sounds
it.
good. Now that's being professional.
Yeah, it's not a really removal. It says, entitled pending completion of further investigation, and I think some of us have never seen all of this.
I have never seen it.
And I would like to have investigation, whether it be with the police department or whatever it is, to see all this documentation, so if we can move further with it. But, I understand what they're saying, but, we
Yeah.
still need investigation to move further on.
Sure.
So we all need to meet together and discuss it with our attorney like it was requested. And it'd be better, so that way we could get all the points out, nobody have to say what they have to say.
Right. This is not a court.
In the executive session,
I would hope that,
you want to do it there?
well,
Because I'm
ma'am,
not trying to hang anybody. These are things that were brought to our attention and that need to be addressed.
I agree.
And that's all this resolution is saying, is let us look at it and address it, but don't go any further with any more actions as such.
okay, that sounds good, Donegal. I mean, honestly, if,
Because I'm not a person that wants to go point the finger at somebody. My name's on some of these documents as well.
Right,
And
right.
all of us up here are trying to do the best that we can and stick as close to that Constitution as we can now as a business committee leaders. I'm not worried about what they did in the past or what was status quo then, but we as a committee now, it's our duty to make sure that these things are done and done right. And if we come across something that's not right, and like Mr. Wani said, he brought it to our attention and asked for help, and that's what I'm doing, is helping him out. And if he chooses to back up and say, no, he don't want to do nothing with it, well, that's his prerogative. All we can do is bring these to light, and if you guys sitting there all decide you don't want to vote on it, that's no skin off my nose. I brought it to your attention. I brought these things that were not correct to your attention to do something with and say, hey, let's get up here and do what's right.
okay. Well, CBC 2, I like CBC 4's suggestion. I'm not arguing or anything. I mean, there's nothing to argue about here. I can't recognize it because of our sworn oath. And if y'all decide when y'all meet to recall me, by all means do so.
That's not our objective.
Okay?
I don't
But-
think it's a recall. I think it's just taking the powers of signature alone.
Guys, I have no power of signature at all unless y'all vote.
And I make a
I have no
motion.
power. I have
I
no power
will-
to sign.
I will make a motion that this is discussed today in the executive session.
I second.
Okay, now on that part, do y'all want me in there? I don't want to be in
Sure.
there.
You're a part of the committee.
Okay,
You're part
well,
of the committee, our attorney's a part of the committee. I mean, we have no, there's nothing hidden here.
Well, it's-
Discuss it and let's be done with it.
you know, it's like this. Somebody wakes up in the morning and says, well, I'm going to go to my highly favored meeting. And then one of the colleagues of that says, you did these things here. And boy, you better turn your stuff in. And I'm like, wow. I can go on record and attest to Almighty God. Everything I've done has been by the Constitution. So I'll recognize the motion to go into executive session to talk about it. But when we come out, still, I will stand on the Constitution. So we had a motion, and we got a second by Alice. All those in agreement to take this into executive session, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay. Well, let's move forward. Resolution number 09-2021. Wait a minute.
We have the minutes.
We got
to
these
approve.
minutes. We sure do.
You got a few minutes.
So on these minutes here, guys, if you guys have looked at them, that's one thing I gotta say is nobody looks at these. Because if you really looked at these, you would have omissions or additions. So does anybody have any omissions or additions to the monthly meeting of February 6th? I'll call for it twice. I'll call for it 3 times. Barring none, could someone pose a motion to accept the minutes of this meeting in February?
If there's no changes or discussion, I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion made by June Sobo, CBC 1.
I second
Need a
it.
second, okay. Seconded by the vice chair. All those in favor to accept the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. We're going to go right to resolution number 09-2021. This is an enrollment resolution, list number 1187. Whereas the Comanche Business Committee has been presented a list containing applicants who have filed for membership with the Comanche Nation. And whereas the list includes the names of applicants who have been verified as eligible pursuant to Article 3, Section 1C, membership of the Constitution of the Comanche Nation, which states, all descendants of allottees eligible for membership under the provision of Section 1A of the article having an 8th or more degree of Comanche Indian blood. Now therefore be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee accept the verification of eligibility for the applicants as shown on list 1187 by the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office. And be it further resolved that the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office notify the eligible applicant by letter of their approval, and further that the enrolled member be provided information concerning their enrollment, including name, date of birth, roll number, social security number, and degree of Comanche blood. So, Business Committee, barring no questions, could someone please pose a motion to approve resolution number 09-2021?
Make the motion.
Motion made, I need a second. Seconded by CBC 4. Leslie, we going too fast? Okay. All those in favor for resolution number 09-2021, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Then we're going to resolution number 10-2021. This is list number 1188. Whereas the Comanche Business Committee has been presented a list containing applicants who have filed for membership with the Comanche Nation. And whereas the list includes the names of applicants who have been verified as eligible pursuant to Article 3, Section 1C, membership of the Constitution of the Comanche Nation, which states all descendants of allottees eligible for membership under the provision of Section 1A of the article having an 8th or more degree of Comanche Indian blood. And whereas the list of applicants are considered adults but have not been enrolled in any other tribe, and the documentary evidence is on file with the enrollment office, and now therefore be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee accept the verification of eligibility for the applicants as shown on list 1188 by the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office, and be it further resolved that the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office notify the eligible applicant by letter of their approved membership, and further that the enrolled member be provided information concerning their enrollment, including name, date of birth, roll number, social security number, and degree of Comanche blood. As you can see, there are some 1 and 2. And I imagine these are confidential, Amber? Okay. So, I know people will look at the age and they always ask, well, what happened there? So there is, if you guys will look on page 2 on this list number 1188, you will see what the description is. I appreciate you being here. Any questions to Amber on resolution number 10-2021? Oh, really?
Okay. She
Yeah.
hadn't caught it that. Okay.
Okay. Okay, barring no questions, I need someone to bring a motion forward for resolution number 10-2021.
I so move.
Moved
I
by
second.
CBC 2. I need a second.
I second.
Seconded by CBC 4. All those in favor for this resolution, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. So we had not a very big list on that first list there, 1187, but we got one in South Carolina and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here in Oklahoma. And here's our new members. There's Kaylee Nicole Brown, Guillermo Canejo Arcos Jr., Kay Bailey Cook, Caden Micah Johnson, Luca Guy Mykobi, and Lacey Joy Toshaqua. Let's give them a hand, everybody. I hope one of you finds the cure for coronavirus.
Really?
All right. Let's go to resolution number 11-2021. This is list 1189. Whereas the Comanche Business Committee has reviewed each individual application as named on the list number 1189, who filed for enrollment as a member of the Comanche Nation of Oklahoma pursuant to the membership provisions of the Comanche Nation's Constitution and bylaws, approved January 9, 1967. And whereas the documentary evidence on file with the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office and information furnished by each applicant named on list number 1189 does not possess the required 1/8 degree Comanche blood as provided by Article 3, Section 1C of the Comanche Constitution. Now therefore be it resolved that each applicant named on the attached list number 1189 is determined to be ineligible for membership with the Nation of Oklahoma because he or she does not meet the provisions of Article 3, Section 3C of the Comanche Nation's Constitution. And be it further resolved that each applicant on list number 1189 be officially notified of the rejection for membership, slating the reason for such determination, and including the appropriate appeals provisions. Business Committee, we have one person that was disqualified. So could someone entertain a motion for resolution number 112021?
I make the motion.
Motion made by
Second.
CBC 4, seconded by, is that you, June?
Yes,
CBC
sir.
1.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay. I noticed we got something in executive session for enrollment. What, is that still on the agenda?
Yes, I have 2 cases.
Okay, very good. All right. Let's go to list number 1190. This is from enrollment also. Whereas the Comanche Business Committee has reviewed each individual application as named on the attached list number 1190, who filed for enrollment as a member of the Comanche Nation of Oklahoma, pursuant to the membership provisions of the Comanche Nation's Constitution and bylaws, approved January 9th, 1967. And whereas the documentary evidence on file with the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office and information furnished by each applicant named on list number 1190 does not descend from a Comanche allottee as provided on Article 3, Section 1B of the Comanche Constitution, and now therefore be it resolved that each applicant named on the attached list number 1190 is determined to be ineligible for membership with the Comanche Nation because he or she does not meet the nation's constitutional membership requirements. And be it further resolved that each applicant on list number 1190 be officially notified of their rejection for membership, stating the reason for such determination and including the appropriate appeals provision. And as you can see, there are 2 cases here. They did not have an allottee within the hierarchy of being a Comanche. So, I need someone to entertain a motion for number 12-2021.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Second.
Seconded by CBC 1. All those in favor on resolution number 12-2021, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, this is transportation. Is there a representative here for transportation?
We have
We
one
have
more
one more.
enrollment.
We do?
Yes, 1191.
1191.
13-202.
Okay, this is another rejection. It looks like, okay. All right, I'm seeing, she's outside the parameters of the Constitution. Okay, sorry guys. Resolution number 13-2021. This will be list number 1191. Is that correct? Okay. Whereas the Comanche Business Committee has been presented a list containing applicants who have filed for membership with the Comanche Nation. And whereas the documentary evidence on file with the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office verify that each applicant named on list number 1191 are considered ineligible pursuant to Article 3, Section 4 of the Constitution of the Comanche Nation, which states, notwithstanding the provisions of Section 3 of this article, any person who meets the eligibility requirement and criteria in Section 1 of this article, who as a minor accepted a material or monetary benefit as a member of another tribe, or whose legal guardians accepted a material or monetary benefit as a member of another Indian tribe, while the person was a minor. Comanche Nation shall have the option of relinquishing their membership in the other tribe and becoming a member of the Comanche Nation not later than 1 year after they become an adult, as defined by this Constitution. Whereas the list presented contains applicants who have applied for membership with the Comanche Nation before or after the 1 year period, as defined by the Constitution of the Comanche Nation, and are found ineligible for enrollment due to applying outside the parameters of Article 3, Section 4, Now therefore be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee accept the verification of ineligibility. God, what other word can we use there? For the applicants as shown on list 1191 by the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office, and be it further resolved that the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office notify the ineligible applicants by letter of their denied membership, and further that the applicant be provided information concerning their enrollment application. Business Committee need a motion to approve this resolution. Could I get one?
I make the motion.
Motion made by CBC 4. Could I please get a second?
I second it.
Okay, I'll go with CBC 2. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those to not approve that, same sign. All right. Amber, thank you for your time. Thank you so much. All right, we'll see you in executive. All right. Now we'll go forward to transportation. Can you give us any briefing on this?
He's adding, transportation routes to the long-range plan.
Okay. Long-range plan.
You're welcome.
And the person here, can you identify yourself, sir?
Adrian Tejano, I'm the Director of Transportation.
You get that, Miss? Okay. All right. Good morning, Adrian.
Morning.
All right. Resolution number 14-2021. I always ask you before I read these, can you give us kind of a where the Big Pasture School is? That's the school right by our casino area, right by that new Love's there. Then we got Temple Elementary School. Then we also have, I guess those two are the only ones on this one.
Temple.
We got Temple and we got
And
Grant,
Grant.
Big Pasture.
Big Pasture.
Okay. All right. Any questions before I go to this? Because it's kind of self-evident. If you go to the second page, it shows you what the route is. And Adrian can only get federal money whenever he puts it on a long-range plan or a short-range plan. So I'll just go right to the resolution. This is resolution number 14-2021. Whereas the nation is a federally recognized Indian tribe with the Constitution approved and ratified by the Secretary of the Interior of the United States on January 9th, 1967, to safeguard tribal rights, powers, and privileges to improve the economic, moral, educational, and health status of its members. Whereas the tradition of sovereignty of the Comanche Nation since the time immemorial long predates the existence of the nation, establishes the inherent sovereign powers and rights of the Comanche self-government, and whereas the Comanche Constitution, Article 6, Section 7, establishes the Comanche Business Committee as a duly elected official body designated to conduct business for and on behalf of the nation pursuant to Article 6, Section 7C of the Constitution. Whereas the Comanche Nation Department of Transportation desires to update the long-range plan by adding the following routes to the Department of Transportation roads inventory list. This is route number 7515, Big Pasture School, located in Randlet, Cotton County, Oklahoma. Route number 7516, Temple Elementary School, located in Temple, Cotton County, Oklahoma. Route number 7517, Temple High School, located in Temple, Cotton County, Oklahoma. I want to add these routes to the Transportation Improvement Plan, which is called the TIP. Please view the attached details, and that's what's on the back, CBC. And to resolve this question, now therefore be it resolved, the Comanche Business Committee hereby approves for the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Branch of Transportation, Southern Plains Regional Office to add the above routes to the nation's Department of Transportation roads inventory list. Any questions for Adrian from the CBC? Barring no questions, could I please get a motion to approve resolution number 14-2021?
Move.
I
Moved by
second.
CBC 1 and seconded by CBC 4, Castlevoid. All those in favor for this action, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All those abstain, same sign. Okay. Adrian, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just inform the committee that everything is rolling well for the casino, Red River Casino parking areas.
Oh, wow.
We've met
Okay.
with the Enterprise Department, Comanche Nation Enterprise, and we discussed some stuff, and everything seems to be in place. We're
Good.
just waiting on some numbers from the construction company.
Adrian, before you go, I want to thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank the committee.
I've been here for 4 years, and we got us a KCA Veterans Road built. Apache High School, helped them. Helped out Cache High School. You've helped out Walters High School. I love what you did for Trail Road back in the day, what you did for Lee Boulevard back in the day.
Yes, sir.
Now you're doing Temple and also Walters, and now you're doing Big Pasture. I want to thank you, sir, personally, on a professional level. Thank you.
Yes, sir, you're welcome very much. Thank you.
Alrighty, we can go to, well, let's wait for Miss Foster here. All right. You know, we utilized a huge template for us for Governor Stitt when we were going to the compact. They were so impressed with what we did with schools, what we do, you know. You know, they say, wow, you really are a reciprocating back tribe, and we really are.
Yeah.
All right, Comanche Nation Resolution number 15-2021. This is called Carryover Funds. Whereas the Comanche Nation is a federally recognized Indian tribe with the Constitution approved and ratified by the Secretary of the Interior of the United States on January 9th, 1967, to safeguard tribal rights, powers, and privileges to improve the economic, moral, educational, and health status of its members. And whereas the Comanche Constitution, Article 6, Section 7, establishes the Comanche Business Committee as a duly elected official body designated to conduct business for and on behalf of the Comanche Nation in legal quorum. Legal quorum. And whereas there were some Comanche Nation General Fund programs with 2020 fiscal year end funds and been approved by the General Council vote, now therefore be it resolved the following listed programs will have these balances carry over to the respective programs. Program number 340, Realty, and program number 611, ECDC. And Julia, can you name what that acronym stands for? Is it
That's
early-
our daycare program, sir.
So is it called Early Development, Child
Early
Development?
Childhood Development Center.
Okay, so that's what that stands for. So be it finally resolved, the CBC approves the carryover funds to the listed programs. You know, I'm gonna be honest, there are some things brought forward at the start of this meeting. This ain't right to the tribal council to do that. It really isn't. You know, I've never brought this forward, but everybody wants to be real technical all of a sudden. I think this is up to tribal council. They vote for a number, and it's not used. I will bring it forward to the annual meeting. When this is not used, give it out to the per cap. I'm that chairman. All monies belong to the people. But it's up to you guys. I'm bringing it forward. You gotta do things right. Okay, so anybody want to entertain a motion to approve this?
I make the motion.
Motion made by CBC 4. Need a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, was that you, June?
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor for resolution number 15-2021, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those in disapproval, I don't have a vote, but I say no. All right, let's go to resolution number 16-2021. Mr. Rodriguez was at our tax commission meeting. Mr. Tadenapper, have you had a chance to look over these? Oh, I'm sorry. You good? Good, all right. All right, guys. So we have resolution number 16-2021. And this is the Comanche Nation Taro Acts of 2020. What this is to amend the part of that first resolution. So, whereas the Comanche Nation is a federally recognized Indian tribe with a constitution approved by the Secretary of the Interior on January 9th, 1967, to safeguard tribal rights, powers, and privileges to improve the economic, moral, educational, and health status of its members. And whereas the Comanche Nation Constitution, Article 6, Section 7, establishes the Comanche Business Committee as the duly elected official body designated to conduct business for and on behalf of the Comanche Nation in a legal quorum. And whereas the Comanche Business Committee desires to impose the taro tax on vendor licenses prior to commencing work on an awarded contract. And if vendor licensee performs service and receives payment for these services provided, taro taxes are due upon receipt of payment of an invoice for the service rendered. And whereas the Comanche Business Committee desires to authorize the Tax Commission with the ability to exempt vendor licensees, from requirement to pay taro taxes. Now therefore be it resolved, the Comanche Business Committee hereby authorizes the amendment to Part 13 of the Comanche Nation Taro Tax Act of 2020. Do you need a motion to accept this?
I make the motion.
Motion made by Secretary Treasurer. Can I please get a second?
Second.
Okay, CBC 4. All those in favor for resolution number 16-2021, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Another part of taro is the ordinance. So we're going right to the ordinance, resolution number 17-2021. The Comanche Nation is a federally recognized Indian tribe with the Constitution approved by the Secretary of Interior on January 9th, 1967, to safeguard tribal rights, powers, and privileges to improve the economic, moral, educational, and health status of its members. And whereas the Comanche Nation Constitution, Article 6, Section 7, establishes the CBC as the duly elected official body designated to conduct business for and on behalf of the nation in a legal quorum. And whereas the Comanche Business Committee desires to require vendors of Comanche Nation entities to be required to comply with taro license requirements. And whereas the Comanche Business Committee desires to provide a means by which vendors of Comanche Nation entities may be exempt from payment of fees and taxes. And now therefore be it resolved, the Comanche Business Committee hereby approves amendments to the Comanche Nation Employment Rights Ordinance of 2020. So this is to amend the Comanche Nation Employment Rights Ordinance of 2020. So CBC members, could someone entertain a motion to approve?
I so move.
Moved by CBC 2. Could I get a second, please?
I second it.
Seconded by CBC 3, Mr. Comanche. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just an FYI to Leslie and you, their numbers are off. Alice is CBC number 3 and Comanche CBC number 4. Okay, you good? Okay.
All right. Comanche Nation resolution, read that back. We did take a vote, right?
Correct.
All right. All right. Now, what was your correction, Mansky?
Alice is CBC number 3. You're referencing her number 4. So it's a little confused. The numbers were backwards, so I wanted to correct it for Leslie because of our minutes.
Alice, are you CBC 3?
Ha.
Okay. Okay. All righty. Moving right along. Resolution number 18-2021. This is a Comanche Nation Gaming Commission fiscal year 2021 budget modification. You know, I like that. You know, people have budgets, and when they're, you know, either ahead of the game or behind the game, I haven't seen modifications but from the Gaming Commission, and I love that part. I wish all programs that are in arrears would come and give us a modification. Just my thoughts for 2021. Shannon, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good.
Great. Can you give us a briefing why this modification is coming forward?
Yes, this is a carryover of what we did not spend in FY20. So it's not money that we'll need, it's money we already have.
With the Constitution approved by the Secretary of the Interior on January 9th, 1967, to safeguard tribal rights, powers, and privileges to improve the economic, moral, education, and health of its members. And whereas the CBC is the duly elected official body designated to conduct business for and on behalf of the Comanche Nation. And whereas the Comanche Business Committee has received and reviewed the proposed fiscal year 2021 budget modification, the Comanche Nation Gaming Commission requests the surplus for 2020 be carried over into 2021 Comanche Nation Gaming Commission budget. Now therefore be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee approves the Comanche Nation Gaming Commission fiscal year 2021 budget modification of $498,563.08. Business Committee, I bring forward resolution number 18-2021.
I make the motion.
Motion made by CBC.
Second.
Three. Seconded by CBC 1, June Sobo. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Great. Now, Shannon, thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Back there talking.
All right. Resolution number 19-2021. Now, this is the House Accountant Melanie Autone. Now, this is for retail wholesale, is this correct?
Yes.
Now, did you guys meet this board that works with retail wholesale? This person is going to be able to view bank accounts?
Yes.
Does this person have bank account access?
No.
No. Not
Okay.
yet.
All right. And do y'all have a process to make sure that no individual has access to the banks? No single individual. Right. And for the record, this chairman for the last 4 years has had no access to any money at any bank. Okay, whereas the Comanche Nation is a federally recognized Indian tribe with the Constitution approved and ratified by the Secretary of the Interior of the United States on January 9th, 1967, to safeguard tribal rights, powers, and privileges to improve the economic, moral, educational, and health status of its members. And whereas the Comanche Constitution, Article 6, Section 7, establishes the Comanche Business Committee as the duly elected official body designated to conduct business for and on behalf of the Comanche Nation in legal quorum. And whereas the Comanche Nation Business Committee deems it prudent and necessary for the proper management of Comanche Nation Smoke Shops and Comanche Nation Wholesale that the company's accountant, Melanie Autone, has online access to view company bank account numbers ending in, and I hope this is not the full account, this is just the last 4 digit.
Yes.
Okay, 2674, 2696, 2641, 2619, 2652, 2663, 3162, 2685 at City National Bank and Trust. Secretary Treasurer, are you aware of this?
Yes.
Are you good with this? This is retail wholesale. So are you a part of knowing this?
Yes.
You're at their meetings?
Yes.
Okay. Is that true, board?
At the last meeting, he was not there.
Okay. Okay. So therefore, be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee hereby authorizes City National Bank and Trust to add Melanie Autone to view online all company bank accounts. Back at you, Secretary Treasurer. You good with this?
I need a point of clarification, Chairman.
I don't know it. I got to give it up to our Secretary Treasurer.
I'm not familiar with a Melanie Autone.
You want to table this?
I move that we table this.
There's a motion on the floor to table. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by the Vice Chair. All those in favor to table so the Secretary Treasurer, who's in charge of all finances of our nation, to be involved, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? All right. This engagement of McCabe CPA and Consulting Group LLC. Now, who is this for? Wholesale and retail?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, is the Secretary Treasurer involved with this? Have you heard of this McCabe CPA and Consulting?
Yes.
Okay, you good with that?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution number 20-2021. Engagement of McCabe CPA and Consulting Group LLC. Whereas the Comanche Nation is a federally recognized Indian tribe with the Constitution approved and ratified by the Secretary of the Interior of the United States on January 9, 1967, to safeguard tribal rights, powers, and privileges to improve the economic, moral, educational, health status of its members. Whereas the Comanche Constitution, Article 6, Section 7, establishes the CBC as the duly elected official body designated to conduct business for and on behalf of the nation in legal quorum. And whereas the Comanche Nation Business Committee deems it prudent and necessary for the proper management of Comanche Nation smoke shops and Comanche Nation wholesale that the services of McCabe CPA and Consulting Group LLC be used to facilitate additional accountant training and ensure accurate financials. Now, are they going to do training?
Yes.
And who are they training?
The smoke shop financial department.
Are you aware of this, Secretary Treasurer?
I was not allowed to attend this meeting.
Do you want to table this one? All financial matters go through the Secretary Treasurer.
I feel that enough of the business committee was involved.
Okay.
I feel that we can move forward on this action.
Okay. Now I got to ask this question. You brought it up. We got to do things right. We don't want to get in trouble. Do you think a board of the CBC over retail wholesale is the correct thing to have? We're elected officials. Is it the
Yes.
correct thing to have?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we've had new business meetings, but it's deemed incorrect. Now, which is what?
We just need to move it forward in legal quorum and approve.
Hold on. I adjourned the new business meeting, which was Interim Comanche Nation Enterprises Board. Interim, meaning we're elected officials. We can't create, we can't manage, and we can't run businesses. We're elected officials. So on this part 2, new business meeting was adjourned. We're awaiting to redo our charter. Now on this group here, is it legal or illegal?
I move that we table.
Okay? And also in the discussion that you guys want to have with me, it should be discussed. Because honestly, the ending of my term, we will never have another new business meeting, ever. We'll never have it, because he's right. You know, he's right. And this has been inherited, like I said, for, over a decade, 10 years. So, you want to table this? Let's get things correct. Your words are resonated in my ears for the last 3 weeks. Let's do things right. Let's don't get in trouble. So, John David, do you want to table resolution number 20-2021?
I move that we table.
Okay, need a second.
I second it.
Seconded by the vice chair. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There's things that happen out of quorum. We see murals put up out of quorum. We see different things, lodging areas out of quorum, a lot of things out of quorum. And honestly, all I can tell everybody is, listen to John Davis' word of the new business meeting. We got people here that's coming to executive session today that traveled a long way, and we had to adjourn the meeting. Why? Let's do things right. Let's don't get in trouble, correct?
We need to just make sure that we follow the Constitution.
Amen.
As long as we do that, it's no one is at fault. As long as we comply with the Constitution. That is our oath to the Comanche people.
Thanks. All right, resolution number 21-2021. Now this is for CBC 4, Robert Comanche Jr., to have bank signature cards at City National Bank, or more or less signature authority. Is that correct? I have no authority at any bank, so is this correct? And who provided this resolution?
Who's still?
Who?
Amy. Amy.
Okay. Is this correct, Secretary Treasurer? This, once again, is real, retail and wholesale.
First time I'm seeing this resolution, Chairman.
Yeah. See, it's been inherited stuff. See, this has been inherited. A lot of inheritance. So let's do it by the book. Call for a table.
I make a motion to table it.
Motion to table by the Vice Chair of the Comanche Nation. I need a second.
So move.
Thank you, June. All those in favor to table resolution number 21-2021, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Now here's a resolution brought forward that I didn't know what, honestly, to be honest with you, this resolution authorizing Comanche Nation Entertainment to enter into contract for more than $3 million for construction of casino near Comanche, Oklahoma. Legal counsel, number one. We're not in that entertainment business. Comanche Nation Entertainment Incorporated is into that. Our only function through the ordinance of the Comanche Nation Gaming Ordinance is for the CBC to appoint a CEO.
Yep.
Yeah, and also in that same gaming ordinance, it says that the CBC needs to approve any construction that's going to cost more than $3 million.
And actually, is this mic
Hello,
on?
Mia. You need to be on the air
Is it
and
on?
set us straight here. Dustin, can we get Miss Tannenapper's?
Okay. So yes, under the, and I know we talked about these in some prior meetings, but under section 208 for CEOs contracting limitations, it specifically states the CBC approval by resolution is needed to the prior to the CEO entering into any contract or agreement. And under B says for the construction or purchase of a building or any other improvement to real property or building thereon exceeding $3 million. So just for the construction alone, we do need a CBC res.
I wanted all of this addressed for us for one thing. We have tribal council members watching. They are the power of this nation. I'm looking so forward to be part of the power again. I am. And we know the tribal council has the power that if we take on debt, be it a bank loan, be it a loan, we can't go and get a loan over $3 million. Okay? I want everybody to be clear before I read this. Thank you, Mia. Once again, say it again, Mia. This is for, as the gaming ordinance states. Okay. Let's go right to it. All right. Whereas the Comanche Nation is a federally recognized Indian tribe with the Constitution, approved by the Secretary of Interior on January 9th, 1967, to safeguard tribal rights, powers, and privileges of the tribe and its members, and to improve the economic, moral, educational, and health status of its members. And whereas the Comanche Nation Constitution, it is Article 6, Business Committee, Section 7, empowers the Comanche Business Committee to promulgate and enforce ordinances and codes governing law and order to protect the peace, health, safety, and general welfare on land determined to be within Comanche tribal jurisdiction. And whereas on March 26, 1996, the Comanche Business Committee promulgated the Comanche Nation Gaming Ordinance. So honestly, it's over 16 years old, which was approved by the chairman of the National Indian Gaming Commission, NIGC. Whereas Section 208 of the Comanche Nation Gaming Ordinance, as amended, requires that the Comanche Business Committee approve by resolution the Chief Executive Officer, CEO, Mia Tannenapper, of Comanche Nation Entertainment entering into contract or agreement that is for the construction of buildings or any other improvements to real property or buildings thereon exceeding $3 million. And whereas the Comanche Nation desires to renovate and construct buildings located on its Indian lands at the Chick-Chop-Suh allotment near Cache, Oklahoma, for the purposes of a casino. Now therefore be it resolved, the Comanche Business Committee hereby authorizes the CEO of Comanche Nation Entertainment to enter into a contract or agreement for the construction of buildings or improvements to real property or buildings exceeding $3 million on the Comanche Nation's Indians' lands at the Chick-Chop-Suh allotment near Cache, Oklahoma. Business Committee, any questions to the CEO?
I have no questions, and I make the motion.
No questions, and CBC number 3. Casnovoy has brought the motion to approve. Need a second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by the Vice Chair of the Comanche Nation. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstain? All right.
Thank you. With that too, and I don't know if it's proper that there was an affidavit with that cell, and so I don't know if it's a motion that we could just make a motion to rescind that affidavit that will go along with that resolution would be great.
Well, that's day-to-day business on the affidavit.
Is that-
You know, that's part of transfer of land. So land's been bought, you know. So what has Realty told you?
Steven's back. Is that you, Steven? Is he back there? I believe that we feel that once we submit the license and the paperwork to submit for the NIGC, that is by notifying, we're following the laws and regulations of the process of informing them that it will be used for gaming purposes, but just to have no questions and to be cleaner. So we haven't come across this before.
Mr. Lee, can you shed light on this, sir?
Here's the affidavit if you want to see it.
For the record, this is Stephen Lee, Esquire.
Chairman Nelson, this resolution was a gaming, non-gaming resolution, and just like Mia said, it states that we will comply with the NIGC guidelines should we attempt or begin to game on the property. That's it.
Good? Counsel?
You know, the last thing that we want to do is being accused of defrauding the federal government,
Yeah, I
right?
heard that.
So we have to tell them somehow, some way. The affidavit, I did look at it, and Mr. Lee's right, you know, it just says about present intention. So as long as we're notifying them, the NIGC, I think we're all right. You know, I think with these gaming and non-gaming affidavits, we have to be careful to be accurate every time we submit them. But as long as someone's being notified, I think we're all right.
And the resolution kind of does it trump the affidavit?
Well, I don't think it trumps them because they're related to two different time periods. You know, one's January of this year, this is in March. So they can coexist in that way, but without, you know, one necessarily dominating. But our present intention now with the inaction of this resolution is obviously to game. So we need to correct that with the federal government somehow. And we're going to have to notify the NIGC anyway. So I think that will be sufficient.
You know what, Lenora? I'm sitting there looking at these young people. 1, 2, 3. I think we're in good hands.
Doing a good job.
We're in good hands here. So, here we go.
I had a question. Does the facility license, would that take care of that?
That's what we're hoping for, yeah.
And that's exactly what we're referring to as the facility license application process.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. All right. So, Business Committee, back me up there, Leslie. Yes, sometimes we did do the vote, didn't we?
Yes.
We did a vote for the cash, yeah.
Okay, great. All right, let's move forward to resolution. Sorry, Leslie. Sorry. Okay. Resolution number 23-2021. This is to enter into contract for more than $3 million for construction of temporary casino in Cotton County, Oklahoma. Wow. It's only 17 years old, but we're moving forward, Mia. Okay. Whereas the Comanche Nation is a federally recognized Indian tribe with a constitution approved by the Secretary of Interior on January 9th, 1967, to safeguard tribal rights, powers, and privileges of the tribe. and its members, and to improve the economic, moral, educational, and health status of its members. And whereas the Comanche Nation Constitution, Article 6, Section 7, empowers the Comanche Business Committee to promulgate and enforce ordinances and codes governing law and order to protect the peace, health, safety, and general welfare on land determined to be within Comanche tribal jurisdiction. And whereas on March 26, 1996, the CBC promulgated the Comanche Nation Gaming Ordinance, which was approved by the chairman of the National Indian Gaming Commission. Whereas Section 208 of the Comanche Nation Gaming Ordinance, as amended, requires that the Comanche Business Committee approve by resolution the Chief Executive Officer, CEO of Comanche Nation Entertainment, entering into any contract or agreement that is for the construction of buildings or any other improvements to real property or buildings thereon exceeding $3 million. And whereas the Comanche Nation desires to construct building located on its Indian lands at the Tabbytite allotment in Cotton County, Oklahoma, for the purposes of a temporary casino. And now therefore be it resolved, the Comanche Business Committee hereby authorizes the CEO of Comanche Nation Entertainment to enter into a contract or agreement for the construction of buildings or improvements to real property exceeding $3 million on the Comanche Nation's Indian lands at the Tabbytite allotment in Cotton County, Oklahoma, for purposes of a temporary casino. Business Committee, resolution number 23/2021 is at hand. If no questions, could someone entertain a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
I'll second it.
Seconded by CBC 4, Comanche. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Nice.
All those opposed, same sign. All those abstain, same sign. All right. So, Mia,
Thank you.
when is groundbreaking?
So we're doing groundbreaking for what we're calling the temp on March 9th? Yeah, Tuesday. So it's
This
just
Tuesday.
a small, that'll actually, we're doing a nice ceremony. It was postponed because it was scheduled during the tundra days. So we rescheduled it, and then the cash groundbreaking is going to be on April 3rd, and we picked that date because it's 4/3/21.
4, 3, 2, 1, kickoff.
Do
Yeah.
some cool marketing with that.
Yeah.
So that'll be
Outstanding.
Saturday, and we're going to do it in the evening because there's a meeting.
Well, hopefully I can go to these things. Golly, I worked very hard with you guys to get this. Hopefully. I'm being sarcastic. Anyway. Dustin, are we going to have this live streamed? Well, why don't we? It's only it was the last time we opened a casino. Quite a while. So, got a question?
Yeah, I do have a little concern. The groundbreaking, I believe it's for cash, is the same day we have our CBC meeting.
She said that we're going to do it in the evening.
Oh, okay, good.
And we can push it back to whatever later, and we can, if that works.
I just want to make sure you
Yeah.
guys were able to attend.
Thank you for your group's hard work, and thank you, Forrest, and thank you, CBC. So, you know, we got 18,000 Comanches. We need to sustain the population. This is why we're doing this.
We're really
You guys
excited about
don't want to
cash.
do this, man. I don't know. I don't know which way this nation's going now. Anyway, thank you, Mia, very much, very
And
much.
can I just add one thing that you already?
No, go ahead, Forrest.
You already mentioned this, but I just wanted to say it again to just emphasize it. You know, that these resolutions are required by the gaming ordinance for the construction contract. There's additional laws and additional requirements to take on debt or waivers of sovereign immunity and that's not part of this. So this is just for the construction contract, and this is
Yes.
not obligating us to
Absolutely.
take on any sort of debt or waive our sovereign immunity or anything
Yes.
like that. So I just want
Yes.
that to be clear, you know, to the live stream, everyone watching, that
Very
that's
good.
not
That's why I
part
was
of
trying to
this.
bring that up at the
And you did bring
start.
that up, I just wanted to say it again, you know,
Say it again.
twice, so that everyone kind of understands it.
Yes.
I hate
Yeah.
it.
I
Okay.
think that's Wahat, right?
Yes.
Oh, wait. Well, man, I'm on 3 already. Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Can you believe that guy from Wisconsin is going to read the 561 pages of the American Rescue Plan? He's going to filibuster. So all you people awaiting any type of relief from your government, all tribes awaiting $20 billion, we got to watch this guy read 561 pages. And he's a Republican from Wisconsin that believes in conspiracy theories such as QAnon. Wow. What do you think of that, Stephen? We're in a pandemic and he's going to read it word by word by word. Something wrong with that. Okay, we got resolution number 24-2021. Stephen, tell us all about it.
Chairman and members of the CBC, this resolution is brought forward for repairs at 302 Rogers Lane. It's a property the Comanche Nation has owned and has had significant problems with, as you are all aware. This resolution is a request to renovate for an amount over $50,000. The amount to renovate totals $56,688. And the reason for this resolution is we haven't been refunded from our insurance company yet. As of Friday, yesterday, we received an email that they're reissuing the check in the amount of $64,000.
Wow.
So it will offset this.
Wow.
I'm just trying to get our contractors paid and move along on the construction.
I appreciate you bringing it here for the legal form to vote for me to sign.
Yes, sir.
All right. Resolution number 24-2021. Whereas the Realty Program abides by the Comanche Nation Property Program purchasing policies and procedures that require resolution for any expenditure over $50,000. And whereas the Realty Program is conducting renovation at a property owned by the Comanche Nation located at 302 Northwest Rogers Lane, and requests to use funds from the land acquisition budget, which is codified as 355, for renovations in the amount of $56,688. Whereas the CBC finds this resolution to be in the best interest of the nation to approve funds being used from land acquisition budget program, codified 355, to make repairs on the Comanche Nation's property, and now therefore be it resolved, the CBC hereby authorizes the Realty and Land Acquisition Program to utilize funds from the land acquisition budget for renovations of 302 Rogers Lane in the amount of $56,688. As you can see, Secretary Treasurer, it does have everything that Julie is over our property department, and it's got everything on there. So
And the check is actually in the mail. We received an email. It was CC'd on that. Any procurement over $50,000 requires a resolution.
yes,
And with this project already in place, we didn't get the check in time, so that's why Stephen came here, so we can be all in compliance.
that's great. Good. Nothing like compliance. Okay. Could somebody entertain a motion to entertain resolution? Okay.
I so move.
Secretary Treasurer takes the motion. CBC 2. You want the second?
Second.
Seconded by CBC 2. All those in favor for resolution number 24-2021, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Prevention and Recovery Grant Submission. Julie, is this that one I sent to Miss Bonnie?
This is actually an additional grant. She
Oh.
contacted me yesterday. Her and Christine went over all of the all the recommended information to see if they qualified, and they did find that they did. So she
Wow.
wanted to hurry up and get that resolution in
Good.
so she can apply for it.
Very good. Very, very good. Resolution number 25-2021. This is the grant application for SAMHSA, which is substance abuse, medication-assisted treatment, prescription drug, and opioid addiction. Whereas the Comanche Nation is a federally recognized Indian tribe with the Constitution approved by the Secretary of the Interior on January 9, 1967, to safeguard tribal rights, powers, and privileges, to improve the economic, moral, educational, and health status of its members, and whereas the tradition of sovereignty of the Comanche Nation since time immemorial long predates the existence of the nation, establishes the inherent sovereign powers and rights of the nation and self-government. Whereas the Comanche Nation Constitution establishes the CBC as the duly elected official body designated to conduct business for and on behalf of the nation and shall review established priorities. Whereas the Comanche Nation Prevention and Recovery Reintegration Department recognizes the need to expand and enhance access to medication-assisted treatment, or they call it an acronym of MAT, services for Native American persons with an opiate use disorder, another acronym of OUD, seeking or receiving MAT. Whereas the Department of Health and Human Services, the Substance and Mental Health Services Administration, has funds available up to $2.625 million for 5 years, $525,000 per year, to accomplish this purpose under MAT, under PDOA, which is Prescription Drug and Opioid Addiction, Funding Opportunity Announcement FOA number TI-21-006, and whereas the tribal chairman or his designee is the official representative of the nation, is authorized to negotiate and approve contracts and any amendments to such. Now therefore be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee hereby authorizes the submission of the grant application to the Department of Health and Human Services and Substance and Mental Health Services Administration. Business Committee, to move this resolution for 25-2021, I need a motion to do so.
I make the motion.
Motion made by CBC 3 Casnavoy. Need a second.
I second it.
Seconded by Vice Chair Parker. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. We did an amend for 26-2021. I do want to know for the record, Shandell is the new and old business person or party writing in. Are they here? Okay. Well, right after this, we'll go to them, okay? All right. So everybody, we have to declare an emergency, and you know, the state of Texas had multiple problems, and Oklahoma had multiple problems. So the governor, you know, he did declare it. For us to follow the FEMA process, we got to do declarations ourselves. So, Disaster Emergency Proclamation. The Comanche Nation is a federally recognized Indian tribe with the Constitution approved by the Secretary of the Interior, January 9th, 1967, within which Article 6, Section 7 establishes the CBC as a duly elected official body designated to conduct business for and on behalf of the nation. The Comanche Constitution, Article 6, Section 7, establishes the CBC as the duly elected official body designated to conduct business. I think they put that in there twice to say that. I don't know. Whereas on Saturday, February 13th, 2021, Winter Storm 2021, I think it had a name. I think it was up to, what was it in Minnesota?
-20.
Yee, we're only 7 degrees and we blew it around here. Okay, Winter Storm 2021 having occurred in the 7-county jurisdiction, Oklahoma, causing unknown fatalities and unknown injuries with considerable damage to Comanche Nation properties. And whereas immediate attention is required to protect public health, reduce further damage, ensure public safety, and render emergency relief. Whereas the Comanche Business Committee of the nation do find that the aforementioned conditions constitute a threat to the safety and welfare of Comanche Nation and create an emergency disaster situation within the meaning of Section 683.3, which is the Oklahoma Emergency Management Act of 2003 as amended. Now therefore be it resolved, the CBC, acting on behalf of the nation, hereby declares Comanche Nation Tribe to be a disaster area, entitled to aid, relief, and assistance, and do hereby direct the implementation of the city-county emergency operations plan. Looking at that wording, what do you think, council?
Good.
Good?
Yep.
Very good. CBC, could someone entertain a motion to approve resolution number 26-2021?
I make the motion.
Motion by CBC3 Casnavoid. I need a second.
Second.
Seconded by CBC1 June Sova. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right. Shandell, I've got some motions here. Okay. Guys, we moved on this in the new business meeting until we adjourned it. So let's make it totally legal. And we do have Comanche Nation law enforcement liaison here. You see the motion there, Mr. Comanche. Do you want to read the motion so we can get this approved in our legal quorum?
Which one? I'm not.
That's the last page. Oh, the last 10.
Before the folder, no.
Read your name, the blank. Motion made by
My motion by Robert Coleman to approve the chairman to sign CNLE documents allow tribal police to park their units at their home.
That's the motion. I need a second.
I second it.
Seconded by the vice chair. Secretary Treasurer, you okay with this?
I do have concern in the fact that coverage on the vehicles, insurance issue. Julia, do we have a program in place in case there happens to be damage, or it could be damage caused either incidentally or by someone else parked at a private residence? As long as our insurance programs, Chairman, cover that, then I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Did we get a motion in a second? Okay, we're going to go to the vote on this. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Well, on your agenda, we've got these nice people here. Mr. Writing in, this is in new business. This will be a presentation by this group here.
Chairman, if I could for a second.
Sure.
I'm going to have to excuse myself at noon to attend a funeral, but I intend on coming back
Yeah.
for
okay.
executive session
Okay.
when I'm done.
You must tell Matt, we're sure sorry. This
Thank
is
you.
for the Kamalti family.
Yes,
Yeah, just tell Matt and his brother and sisters sorry.
thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
For the record, CBC 3 will be attending a funeral and will be coming back, so. Hello.
Hello, how are you today?
Good.
A long time getting here.
Yeah. Well, you're talking to an audience. What are we up to now, Dustin? About 1,500 people? You're talking to an audience kind of worldwide, so. Could you introduce yourselves, gentlemen? You got an audience, like I said, and bring what you want us to hear.
Okay, I don't, that's right. That won't work. That's the one you got? I printed this one out. Okay. Okay. Introduction, my name is Bob Wrightingham. Oh, can I take this off?
You might need
Oh,
it. Just,
closer. I'm sorry. Can you hear me all right? My name is Bob Writing In, and my aunt was Julia Mesite, who is the owner of the allotment that we're going to talk about here, that we are trying to get ready to develop.
Sorry, I'm having a very, very difficult time here.
just go ahead and take it off,
All right,
Mr. Wright.
maybe I can talk better
Just
without
put
that.
the microphone right there on it. I mean, just
It's
take it
kinda-
off the deal and put it in your hand. Act
Right
like
here.
Frank Sinatra.
Oh, right. Oh, it's taped on there, I think.
All right. Okay.
Can you hear me all right?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear?
Okay.
All right, let me start again. My name is Bob Writing In, and my aunt was Julia Mesite, who was the Secretary Treasurer of the Comanche Nation years ago. She has had the allotment on exit 1 over here, which if you get the picture, can you get a? Yeah, well, I'd like him to see the.
You want to see the front
Yeah,
first?
I want it on the screen.
I don't have it.
Oh, anyway, she has the allotment on exit 1 over here. You're probably familiar, come in all the time, you see that exit 1, and there's an allotment right to, the highway divides the allotment into 2 sections.
Do you guys have this picture on your PowerPoint?
Well, he has,
We don't, that's the problem.
get the other one up there that was there.
But I can put one similar to that.
Yeah, because everybody needs to know exactly where this
That
is.
one, back up one.
That is the allotment.
Okay, the allotment, my allotment is 1, and you'll notice that is exit 1 on I-40. The land right to the south of that is the Apache Tribe of Oklahoma allotment, which is owned, when I last heard, was owned by about 39 people. And there, one time was getting ready to build a casino, and I think that caved in on them years ago, but they are still there. But the land I'm talking about is allotment 1 up on the top. That is the allotment that's owned by Julia Mesite, and now I'm the heir to it. I'm the sole owner of that property, along with the other one down here, 2, which is on the river itself. What we want to talk about today is the area up in number 1. And about a year ago, Ed approached me about building a development up there.
Could you give your full name and who you're with for the record?
Yes. My name is Ed Bishop. I am an architect, and I am the developer of this proposal. And I would be the developer and the leaseholder on this project. As Bobby was saying, about a year ago, we started working on this project. It's been quite a project putting it all together, and we'll get more into detail in a little bit. But again, my name is Ed Bishop, and I'm an architect. Yes.
Could you tell us what company you represent?
I represent Ed Bishop Architects.
Say that again. Did you get
Ed
that?
Bishop Architects. And I also have the development company called BFIG Incorporated, or LLC, I guess, I'm sorry. BFIG LLC.
He's OU graduate, but we won't hold that against him. No, really. Anyway, as I said, Ed approached me about a year ago to do a development on this property up there. And
Come closest to
That's all right. I hear it whistling is the reason. I think I'm too close to it. But anyway, he approached me about a year ago and started wanting to know about if I wanted to do some development on that land. And one of the first questions I asked him is that, are you talking about a casino? And at that time he said, no, we're not talking about a casino. We're really talking about a sports arena, which has to do with some internet gaming type things, plus which I guess, I don't know if all of you have, if you have children or not, or young adults that are into e-gaming. One of the things that we're talking about in this development is e-gaming. And Ed and Blake will talk more about the project, but I just wanted really to introduce myself and tell you where this land, what this land is, how I'm an owner of the property and the single owner of it, and other than that, I'll let Ed and Blake talk to you about the rest of it.
Mr. Radden, are you a Comanche Nation tribal member?
No, I am not.
Okay.
Years ago, my aunt, who's half Comanche, my grandfather was Jack Massey of Apache. He has an allotment in Apache, which I own along with my brother and two sisters. And my aunt decided that since my father was full-blood Pawnee, and my mother married him, made her, and so I'm a half Pawnee and a quarter Comanche. And she put me on the Pawnee roll because I was more Pawnee, I think, than I was Comanche.
Ah, okay, thank you.
But I do qualify, and I would like to be on. I can't be on both of them. But that's what I wanted to introduce myself and tell you what the property was, and I'll let Ed and Blake talk about it. If you have any questions for me, I'm glad to take them.
Thank you.
Mr. Commissioner, I'm Blaine Nice, 100 North Broadway, Oklahoma City, an attorney.
Do you mind speaking your
Sure.
last name? Can you give me your last name?
It's Nice, Blaine Nice, N-I-C-E, 100 North Broadway, Oklahoma City, and I'm represent developers in general. That's my background, and Mr. Bishop came to me asking for some assistance in this. He has all the details, but I just kind of wanted to give a little synopsis as why we're here today. Obviously, we want to be transparent. Here's what we have out there. And as Mr. Wrighton said, you know, this project started, or, you know, the concept was over a year ago, and they put together this presentation, and we're just trying to be transparent. I know I talked to Mia a few minutes ago, and we certainly need to deal with them if we're going to do some things in that regards, but we just wanted to come forward and show you the product. Mr. Bishop will talk to you a little bit more. At this point, I've talked to Forrest a couple times, and we've got investors. We can't really get into some detail that you may have questions about today for obvious reasons, but what we would ask is that after you listen to the presentation, if we could have some direction to maybe kind of develop a memorandum of understanding to go forward and disclose more specifics about our project so that you would get an idea of what it is. But at this point, we're just trying to come forward and say, hey, this property's out there, we're looking at it to develop. This is truly a turnkey operation. As Mr. Bishop will tell you, no risk to the tribe. Now, I talked to Mia, and I certainly understand that you've got the property on the other side, and you know, why would you bet against yourself? And I appreciate that. I do think we are in a position ready to go immediately, and I think some of the issues on the other side may take a while to develop, but at the same time, I think we could have a symbiotic relationship that would kind of benefit the tribe in that way. Wouldn't try to duplicate everything maybe, and so, but what we just wanted to start a dialogue. So certainly we appreciate your time today, and Ed will go through his presentation and be happy to try to answer any questions you have. But the main thing is at this point, there's a lot of specifics that I don't know we can lay out here today, and would like maybe the ability to discuss that further with you in the future if you are so inclined. So I'll let Ed kind of go through the slides right quick.
So, Mr. Nice, What company do you represent?
I represent Mr. Bishop's company, yes, EGB.
Okay.
And through that, Red River One Development, yes. I mean, but my contact is Mr. Bishop, and as I said, my background is in zoning and development law, and so that's why he got in contact with me, just to try to assist in some of those things, yes.
Is Red River One, is it a DBA, LLC?
Red River One, we trademarked the name, and that's going to be the name of our development, but the contract we have with Bob Writing is under BFIG Incorporated. Or I keep saying incorporated, I'm sorry, LLC. Same thing. So,
Thank you, Mr. Nice.
all right, so do you mind if I take my mask off? Is that all right?
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna have to turn just a little bit if you don't mind. Let's go back to the beginning. This is the proposed building, the first building to go up on the project. As Bob said earlier, Bob Wrightingham said earlier, it's a sure, I'd be happy to. We thought it was taped in there. That's much better, thank you. Okay, the project, again, is named Red River One Development, and it's going to have multi-levels of gaming, retail spaces, all kinds of stuff. We have a total of 80 acres there that we're looking at to develop. The exciting thing for us is that we put everything in place so that as we bring in vendors and developers and other people that want to be involved in the project, that we will be providing all the sources and resources as a developer. And so should the Comanche Nation choose to work with us, it would be at no cost or no risk. It would be us bringing in the Comanche Nation and bringing in their project as part of our land development. Obviously, the upside to all this is obviously lots of jobs, employment. We will have everything in there, like I said, from national retail to national commercial eateries, all kinds of stuff like that. We have long-term expansion for multiple growth. We have new facilities planned along the way. And the interesting thing about this is that the whole area has a serious water problem, and we're aware of the issues that everybody out there has. But as we talked about earlier, that in the second part, Bob has a land on the Red River itself, and we're in the process right now of talking to the different water management groups in the state about a water well system on that property, because it's right over the Red River aquifer, and we're discussing the uses of that water as well, which is exciting for all of us. Once we were able to get that water going, it would provide water for all the developments on that whole side, including your developments and our developments and anybody else who would be interested in needing more water. As you can see here, we're going to have national fast food chains, indoor and outdoor entertainment. Bob touched on the fact that we've looked at esports and other gaming facilities. The hotel that we have designed has conference rooms, has a swimming pool, has multi-levels of different functions. We're looking at the possibility of gaming for the gaming facilities, obviously sports betting. Esports are all ages. Esports are very, very popular now. Tons of that going on, and we have that designed so that it is separated. It's all part of the same building, but it's separated so that the underage children can still do all their gaming and sports and be active with their parents, but they're in a separate area of the building. The retail space, we're looking at everything from movie theaters, food courts, bowling alley, retail sales. We're looking at a lot of attraction elements because we have a large piece of land there that we can continually add on to as we develop it. We have multiple restaurants and grills designed throughout the project. It has some inside, some outside. The funnest one, of course, I'll show you here in a minute, is on the very top of the hotel itself, which will overlook the complete area, including Wichita Falls. It's going to be a beautiful indoor-outdoor restaurant on the very top of the casino. We're We're looking at it. We have an area for a cultural center. I'm sorry. Oh yeah. And then also we have a area that we're looking at for a historical cultural center, which would be great right off of the highway. I mean, right off the exit 1 marker. Have a cultural center when people come out of Texas to provide them with all the fun and knowledgeable things about historical stuff that we think kids as well as adults would like to see, and then we also have adult and children entertainment venues designed into this as well, so we can start bringing. We've looked at so many different options, and everything from water parks to all of that kind of stuff. We're just kind of making a decision on which ones we really want to bring into this area. Probably the key to this whole thing is that we're only a few hundred yards from the exit. I mean, you literally just loop off of that and you go onto this property. And that's probably that makes it absolutely valuable for everything we put in there, whether it's McDonald's or whatever. They all want to be right there on that, get off in 3 minutes and get back on in 3 minutes. And that's why we feel like it's really a real opportunity for you guys as well as everybody, because of how the immediate access is. Now, an interesting thing about what happened here in this process, see how that red line on the very top part up there? Well, the property is actually divided in half by I-44, but that red line up there is actually a county road that was never put in. And so the county has agreed to put in a road, and we have to pay for it, obviously, but we are willing to pay for, and they've agreed to allow us to build a bridge over to connect the two properties. So we can actually have access to the full 80 acres, and not only that, have a county road that connects, that gives us a complete loop of the property as you enter and leave the property as well. So that just allows just unbelievable expansion as this grows. You can see up in the upper right-hand corner, we have an outside entertainment venue as well, because we've decided that's kind of coming back more, and we can have outside entertainment. We're looking at all of these options. Again, we realize that we have so much available here that we can just continue just to decide, pick and choose what we want to do with this property. This is the yellow part, as you can see here, is the casino, esports, and national retail. Those are all the things that we can put within the building itself. And by the way, as an architect, I have developed and done all of these things in the past as well. And so I'm speaking from experience when I talk about these things. But B is the hotel, the rooftop restaurant, conference room. We have the conference rooms directly connected to the casino itself, so you can go to conference meetings and then go down into gaming. The indoor-outdoor event center, we have an event center C up in the top, the blue on the top. We have it designed as an indoor and outdoor event center, so that we can have big events from national and international groups, and then we can also do outside events just as well at the same time, or simultaneously, or at separate times, different seasonally, I guess. Which again makes it another incredibly ability to expand. As you see in the C, in the yellow, we have it designed where we can go from any size we want. We can go from, an example of gaming, we can go 800 machines, then we can go 1,600 machines, and we can just continue developing however much we want to increase the process. In that as well, we have a section designed just for future esports, where it can have, esports, e-gaming, where we can, where you have movie theaters and screens and stadium seating inside the building itself. This is an enlarged version of the gaming area so that you can see what I'm talking about. Does this have a little pointer on it? Does it? Oh, right there. See that area right there, and right by the A, that's actually a movie theater and a gaming area that allows to be able to have 20 or 30 different, an OU, OSU game, OU and Texas game, or whatever going on with other sports going on as well across the whole viewing screen as we're doing it. You can see up here at the top, excuse me, I hit the wrong button here. This is the actual, there are the screens in the background where they would be sitting and doing sports gaming or watching, and there'd just be multiple screens going all around the whole room. We have tied into it a really fun sports, I keep hitting the wrong button there. We have tied into it this a sports bar and grill, so that you can actually sit in the area and eat and drink while you're playing in the sports bar. This is the funnest part of the whole thing, is that we really have this designed to where you can actually see, because of the height of the hotel, you can actually see off into the distance, the Red River and everything else around it while they're eating and being entertained. That's the beginning of it right there. Let me show you real quickly. See the entrance right here? See that entrance? And there's the entrance and exit off the property. It's just incredible, the connection that has. Okay. Now here's the next part. We have multiple stages already designed in this, but we realize the first stage is probably the most important. So in our first phase one, we're looking at probably spending about $30 million in this process. We have really state-of-the-art stuff designed in there, including gaming facilities. Everything is just it's going to be a gorgeous project. Any questions?
Mr. Bishop mentioned it, but he doesn't like to toot his own horn, but he's been involved in this industry for a number of years and completed projects for many tribes around the state successfully. So this isn't a fly-by-night deal. We're coming in, I think many times people come in and say, okay, we have this idea and we want you on board, and then they've got to develop it. This is ready, have willing investors, and they're ready to turn dirt. And the location is great. As I said earlier, I know Mia, you guys are looking at the other side. I think that there's some time in that's going to take more, and I know, in my experience, projects, the timelines sound good, but they don't always work. So I think that this project is ready to go, and we would love to work with the tribe. And like I said, Mr. Bishop won't toot his own horn, but he's got plenty of experience in this area, so it's not just throwing this up and saying, hey, here's what our plan is. I truly, there's meat in it, and it's got teeth, so he's the one that can answer technical questions. I know you probably have those, but he won't toot his own horn, and I wanted you to be sure you understood that he's very experienced in this area.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that we, as the business committee, and as the chairman has often said, we want to do everything we can to support our Comanche people.
Yes, sir.
We have a law here, and it's called Comanche preference in hiring. And this Red River One Development Corporation or company or whatever, would y'all fully support
It's
the
absolutely
Comanche
been my
preference
policy
hiring?
to do that. Yes. As a matter of fact, that's why I put that up there. To date, I've done 14 casinos, and I've always made sure that whatever tribe I worked with, I made sure that we brought out that nation's people first. We've done it every time, and actually, we comply by whatever the Taro standards are and requirements for that project.
I just want to say that if you honor that Comanche preference, I think that would be very commendable on your part, because we would insist on that from our side, because our people,
It wouldn't
need
need to be a
employment,
hesitation.
and it would help the economy of our nation.
Well, that's why I'm so excited about this, because for instance, years ago, I worked with the Iowas, and I did the Iowa casinos for them. And one of the first things we did was we did the research and found out that there were a bunch of artifacts in Missouri that they had, that were in a museum. And so we designed into it a historical area with and we met with the Oklahoma National Historical Society, Oklahoma Historical Society, and we brought in that stuff back from the museum and put it into their location on display. And so we made a very, very conscious effort to make sure that whatever we do is for the benefit of whatever nation we're working with or tribe.
One of the things when Ed came to me, I look at things in a different lens than an architect or whatever, and just as a parent who spent a lot of time traveling with kids to play baseball, basketball, or soccer. One of the things that I think this, and they've got included, which I really think in this day and age with the traveling teams and everything, you have a nice baseball facility out there right off the highway with a lot of other amenities and a soccer field. You can bring all kinds of leagues, all kinds of people to come up here and spend their time playing basketball, the indoor court, but soccer and baseball. I mean, as we all know, I'd be retired now if I didn't spend all the money I did on my kids' baseball and soccer and traveling around. And I think and when you talk about beneficial to the tribe, to me, this isn't all about gaming. I mean, it's about other things, because I think that it gets lost on that, and that does bring in people and revenue, which is certainly, we all have to have revenue to stay in business, no matter what business we're in. But I think that the opportunities for the tribe with the outdoor activities, and like I said, the theater and things like that, you can use that for educational things. I mean, that's what's unlimited in that is, I think for educational purposes, and that's what I've talked to Ed about. You've got to incorporate that. You got to get the families out there. This isn't about just bringing people that want to gamble or people that want to drink. I mean, that's not your target audience. Your target audience is the families, and like I said, I think I'm sure most of you know. I mean, I talk to people all the time. My kids are grown now, but the time and money that people are spending on traveling for softball and baseball and soccer, but it's immense. And people from Oklahoma go to Dallas all the time to play in these deals. And what we'd like to do is draw those people here. And if you have a premier facility like that that's got these other amenities, I think it's the location, it's the ease and everything. You'll bring them in. And that's part of that I was kind of excited about when I looked, and the ability to, the growth that they could have in here, because to me, that's obviously you've got to have some other things to raise revenue, but those events now are bringing in, it's amazing the people that'll spend and travel. So I think that's an important part of it. And like I said, Ed, he has had a lot of experience in these, so he knows the ups and downs of this. And so, it's the tribe would be involved. We talked about employment, but also the managing part of it, but it's just no risk. That's the one thing about it. They're willing to assume all the risk and the construction cost and things like that. So it's something certainly you've got other things on the table, and I understand that, but I would hope that you would take a hard and fast look at this, and if we had an opportunity to discuss details, we could do that.
I have a question. The chairman has been in leadership longer than I have, and I would like to ask him if it's allowable for a tribe to have a casino on individual an individual's trust land. I'm not sure.
Legal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question kind of along those lines too.
Please do.
You talked about no risk to the tribe. I assume obviously the investors are looking to a return on their investment, and so I'm just wondering, how that would be coming from the tribe. Are you looking for like a site lease, some sort of revenue share? How would you be getting money for the investors back?
Well, it's my understanding, and what we're talking about at this point is more of a managerial role. You wouldn't have a lease in the sense that you had to obligated to anything. Those are terms for us that we can discuss. That's what I'm saying. I'm not at liberty. Investors have not given us the permission to disclose everything publicly, and I don't like to give that answer, but you certainly, when it comes to proprietary things, but those are the details that can be worked out. I think, you know, it's obviously negotiable. Obviously, investors want to make their money back, so, and this is an expensive project, so it's got to work in that regard. At the same time, you guys wouldn't be involved unless it's beneficial to you. So those are some terms that we can discuss. I mean, there's a whole lot of ways to skin that cat and different things, and that's what we would like permission to maybe go forward and discuss, kind of, you know, with some sort of confidential arrangement at, you know, among council and things like that. And it's certainly a legitimate question, but those are the things that, like I said, we don't have any, there's nothing set in stone in this point about that. But I know Matt may not be a complete answer, but that's kind of where we're at. And I think I talked to you about that before, that if we had some sort of MOU or something where we could sit down and you tell us what you're thinking, we tell us what we're thinking, and, you know, I'm sure everybody has, you know, self-interest. That's human nature, and I certainly expect that. But, you know, you want the best deal you can get, we want the best deal we can get. Somewhere in between would be where we'd hope to land. So everybody benefits. So.
Does that resolve your question?
Well, have you built any casinos on tribal individual land along with the agreement of a tribe?
This is the first, because yes, I've done a lot of casinos, but they've been with tribes. And in a sense, this is kind of the same, because we would have to comply to what your requirements are to make it work. So I don't really see a difference, other than the fact that we are, in the past, regardless of what it cost, what it went, it was always at the expense of the tribe. In this case, it's at our expense to make it work for you. So it's the reverse. And again, that's kind of new for me, because as an architect and having done construction for 45 years now, it's always been somebody else paying the bill. So we recognize that this is going to be a little bit unusual in its conversation, but it's also very exciting for us, because we recognize that we're going to bring in national food chains as well that will have the same questions. We're going to bring in national retailers that have the same questions. You know, it's a lot of things, a national hotel chain probably, or something like that. So we have a lot of options here, and they're all going to ask the same question. That's what's exciting about this, is that, but the fact, what is the most unique about it is the fact, absolutely right, it's in trust by us, one single person instead of a tribe. And that is the only difference. In the end, ultimately, we treat everything the same.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the business committee?
None, but I like your ideals and your concept of everything. But like you said, there's lots to be worked out, you know, with the machines, water, percentage of tribal people, and your Turtle Act, and taxes to tribe, whatever. There's a lot.
Certainly, one of the things in my world, I will tell you, water is one of the most important things now, and obviously that has to be the first thing that they start preparing for, and that benefits everybody in the area. And like I said, I thought about it on the way up here, or down, whatever you want to say, because we had talked about it. But as I passed Chickasha, and you see the fields and stuff out there, I mean, I've traveled a whole lot with my kids playing sports. You go to Arkansas, see these great complexes and everything. I think that, you know, I could see it, you know, be a really good draw for the tribe to use here and bring in people. So that's part of it that's exciting to me. But one of the things is, and I'm one of the people that say, you know, you tell me something if it's too good to be true, what's wrong with it, and I certainly understand that. But this is a no-risk situation. But those, as Forrest points out, And as you just said, we'd have to work out those details. But we just love the opportunity. One, I want to thank you for your time today. I know you got a lot going on, and I talk too much being a lawyer, but
Well,
appreciate
Mr.
the opportunity to visit with you today, and we'd look forward to the opportunity to sit down with Forrest and others and discuss this further.
Well, Mr. Nice, I got a text here from Corporate Comanche. He makes a lot of money. The text is from Henderson, Nevada. So he asked the same questions that Forrest did. But he's asking, who has the final say right here? Anybody? Or is it your investors? Who has the final say right here, right now? Mr. Writing in, Mr. Nice, Mr. Architect, and this young gentleman taking notes. Who has he said, who has the final say?
Well, and I guess my question would be a question.
Throw
Final
an
say-
NDA out, throw non-disclosure, throw it out the window.
No.
He wants to know. And, this is a pretty intelligent Comanche asking this.
No, that's a legitimate question,
Okay.
and the answer is more of a question. What is the question? And when I mean by that, I'm
Who
not.
has the final say today?
No, what I mean
The
by
landowner, or you, or this man?
what I mean by that, it depends on what aspect. When you're talking about construction, obviously the investors do. There would be, as I perceive it, a management agreement that would detail all those things and set forth everybody's rights and procedures. It's that's real common in a development that you have those sorts of agreements. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I think the answer is, and Blaine, I suppose, but it will be Bobby Writing in and myself.
Okay.
Because we have already signed an agreement together.
And then it comes to the second part of the question.
First, let me answer a little bit of that
Sure.
question. As I said earlier, he approached me about a year ago to start
Okay.
this project.
Right.
One of the first questions I asked him is, are you planning on building a casino?
Yeah.
Because I've had a lot of people, not a lot, several people approach me about building a casino on that property over there. And they were not Comanches, they were not, and so one of the first questions I asked, well, have you talked to the Comanches about building a casino there? And some of their answers said, oh, we don't have to talk to them because we have ways around that. I know they don't have ways around it. You're going to, if you build a casino there, it's going to have to be the Comanches that build it or be a part of it. And I told Ed that from the start that I'm not going to approve anything that's built on that land unless it benefits the Comanche Nation. Although I am not on the Comanche roll, but I have my aunts were Comanche and my grandfather's Comanche. So probably the final say in a lot of it will have to come through me.
Okay. Fair enough. And of course, what Forrest said, every Comanche is going to ask this, what's the nation's take? What's our take? All right, we got a...
One thing I want to say before, but when you said the other gentleman taking notes, that's my son. He
Oh,
will
okay.
he will be one of the heirs to that property.
Oh, okay. Are
I
you
have
on the
another
roll?
son. I have two sons.
Are you
And this is
Comanche?
Les Writing in, he is Pawnee. He is
Okay.
the assistant dean at the University of Texas at Arlington.
Oh, okay. All right, great. All righty then. That was the questions, and it came right down to what our attorney asked. And this corporate Comanche, who I'm going to call corporate Comanche, what's the nation's take? And I know you can't answer that because you got investors involved. So, everybody that watched today, every Comanche is going to say, that sounds real good. What's our take?
Well, that's negotiable. I mean, I think that's not set in stone.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. And we thank you. You got any questions, Gene?
Just, that's what I would say. I would be willing to sit down and let's see what our take's going to be and go from there. Because it sounds real good. Well, anytime we can get any kind of money coming into our tribe, whether it be through a tribal member or through construction of our own, we got to look at all those issues, and it don't cost us to sit down at the table and
Yeah.
kick it around.
Yeah.
Because you're liable to come out with something wonderful.
All right.
That's what we're asking for.
He said good enough.
And
Sure.
bring our gaming people in and sit down, like you said, and talk about it and, you know, see where it goes.
Sure. When's our Thursday meeting? Where's Shandell? Maybe we can invite you to our all-entity meeting,
Should be the 25th.
25th? Okay.
25th.
Might put that down. We usually meet at our business center, and, you know, the first person that speaks loses, so.
What time is that on the 25th?
They're usually right around lunchtime, right around lunchtime.
And Ms. Storyby did make a motion.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, we arranged some time, so we got a motion on this table to, are you good with the all-entity meeting?
Sure.
Okay. To see these people at the all-entity, I need a second.
So move.
Okay, CBC 1, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So that's our next step, gentlemen. All right.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Apologize for your 2 trips, so thank you.
Yep.
All right, everybody, we're really at the point, we have got enrollment. Then we have, I think we can do a combination here on Saxon and revolving loan, can't we, Forrest? Okay. And also, we got an update on the code talker room. So could somebody please pose a motion for us to go to executive session? Uh-huh. Okay, well, let's put her in executive session, and whatever document that is, when we come out, we can't vote in executive session, never have on my watch, and we'll come out and we'll review it. So, yes. And Mr. John David Wanee, he put down Comanche Cow Land Project. So these are all executive sessions. So if we could have a motion to go to executive session, could I please have someone do that?
I so move.
Moved by CBC 2. Could I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by CBC 4. All those in favor to go to executive session, and we will come back out, Comanche Nation members. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. All those in disagreement, same sign. And if we could, Leslie, you've been there 2.5 hours. We're going to take a 15-minute break. Okay. We had an executive session beyond measure. It was historic. We're going to go right to what we have to vote on in open session. CBC number 2 brought forward a resolution. It was talked about, and she does have an amended part to this resolution for adoption. If you would, CBC 2.
You want to go ahead and read the whole thing?
No, just therefore be it.
All right. After the whereas that listed what the Secretary Treasurer found, it now reads, now therefore be it resolved the following actions are taken by the Comanche Business Committee defending and protecting our nation's assets by directing a full investigation to be conducted immediately, and be it further resolved, Comanche Business Committee gives a directive that there should be no removal, shredding, or disposing in any manner of any documents from any of the Comanche Nation premises and/or any of their entities pending the completion of further investigation.
Okay, that's before us. Could I please get a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Lenora. Could I please, all those in favor on this resolution, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same
Aye.
sign.
Aye.
Okay, you're opposed?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we had a motion on this revolving loan. And it comes down to this: the tribal attorney has a good accord of how the nation is removed from this, and really to get our federal ID back from this for us. So can somebody entertain a motion to move our tribal attorney to deal with this revolving loan where we're not in contract with another sovereign nation, and to bring our federal identification number back to the nation? That's the motion.
I so move. Second it.
Second, okay. Firsted by CBC 1, June. Seconded by CBC 2, Donna Gill. All those in favor for this, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Also, discussion was the amicus brief dealing with the McGirt case and the possibility of our own fellow tribal members. It comes down to this is needed for information to go to our newsletter, in which our tribal attorney will give to our newsletter. And that should be in the form of a motion.
So moved.
Moved by CBC 1. Need a second for this?
I second.
Seconded by CBC number 3. Alice Casnavoy. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. The discussion on the co-taco room came up, and I want to thank Lenora and I want to thank Donna Gill for their hard work on putting this co-taco room together. It was an assignment, and they have done their due diligence. So the motion needs to be said to: the formula made by CBC2 for artist payment should go as follows. And as far as the formula, could you give that to the writing of the motion? We all know it, but I don't know it verbatim.
You want it broke down by the square foot?
Yes, if you could attach it to that motion. And Chandel, if you get the formula she has used, okay, on the covered areas of the mural, it needs to be a part of the motion. Could I please have someone accept this motion part of action?
So moved.
Moved by CBC 1. Could I please get a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded. Now, I got to ask you, Mr. Forrest Tadenapper, on this Comanche land and cattle, it does need to go to a resolution, should it not?
I think so, but I'll look at the TA because
Just only on the appropriation of the funds, that's it, to
Yeah.
get it off the governmental side.
Okay.
all right.
But at the same time, it had all kind of little dishes and dashes.
That's all I've been trying to tell y'all.
All right. All right, so here we go. This is an appropriation from new business of $800,000 for the Comanche land and cattle operation. This has been passed maybe 3 or 4 or 5 times during the CARES Act, and we found out we couldn't have such an economic development procedure with CARES Act money. Remember that for us? So we're going right back to it because we don't want to be paying the same lease guys that we bought the land the same amount we were paying them 10 or 20 years ago. Good grief. So can we feed our people? Sure we can. Alice said through USDA, we could fill many ice chests, many of our members with meat. So it's an appropriation of $800,000 Comanche land and cattle There will be a 3-member board of Mr. Tim McIntosh, of Miss Donna Gill, Doyabai Sovo, and Mr. Ronald Red Elk. Also, within the guise of this, the finances will be handled by the Secretary Treasurer. Also, we will need monthly financial reports, and all of this is to work in concert as a subcommittee that was created by the Constitution for the CBC. And this, should that be enough? So, we're going to gather all that up in the form of the resolution. So, could I have a motion to pass this action?
I shall move.
Second.
Moved by CBC 1, seconded by CBC 2. All those in favor signify by saying yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, all those that don't want to do it say no. Okay. One last thing, everybody. We're going to have an annual meeting, and that annual meeting date will be, Chandel, April 17th, the third weekend of April. Everybody wants to go to our own trust lands. Everybody wants to go to the powwow grounds. So we're going to ask for that motion. And we're also going to ask for the election notice that we saw today to be sent out to our tribal council members for this election. 2 items today, CBC. This is our last order of business. Could I please have somebody bring forward that motion?
I make the motion.
Wait, John. Okay. That was CBC 1. I need the second by CBC 3. Alice Casnavoy. All those in favor for these actions, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Before we leave, I've had 3 consults this past week. Well, they're calling it the American, what are they calling it? The American Rescue Plan. Man. Bottom line, they had every tribal member on the consult. They had Nancy Pelosi on the consult. They had the Ways and Means people on the consult. They had the Appropriations people on the consult. It's a lot different than the CARES Act because it has some direction, Comanche people. Keep in mind the CARES Act, by us submitting, and I've had, Julia, did I not send everybody, how many employees you have? And what were your costs during fiscal year 2020, right?
I sent it back to you, sir.
Yes. Okay, that was for 2019. Well, by that good work and telling everybody where we're at, the nation got $35 million. 80% of that went to who? Our tribal members. You remember that, Miss Weesaw? Poor thing, made her old. Anyway, we did great things with that money. So, on the call, they're asking, well, we don't know. We just don't know. You know, we utilize how HUD does things. And we do IDHB, and that's the grants that HUD gets. And what is HUD? Well, we only have 300 homes in our inventory of 18,000 Comanches. Doesn't sound right to me. So what we said, take our actual enrollment figures. Then a lot of people were asking, well, what formula should we use? So I made it pretty simple, kind of a small algebraic equation. I said, take past times 2 plus 1/2. Or I could have said m equals x minus 2. You know, I could have done it that way, and they were saying, so what you're saying is 35 mil times 2? Yes, sir. Comes to 70 mil. Yes, sir. Times half? Yes. So well, that's about 98 million. I said, guess what? We got $8 billion on the CARES Act money. On this Rescue America plan, it's $20 billion to tribes, nations, and townships. So it's pretty simple, right? Take 8 times 2 comes to 16, right? Plus 4, of the original amount comes to 20. Hallelujah. Hopefully they will use that formula. But I feel devastated that some tribes in this state that got $257 million of the CARES Act money. 257, woo! Now do that formula times 2, 500 million plus 1/2. Oh my gosh. This tribe over here, maybe on the other side of I-35, not mentioning names, $700 million. Tribal council members, remember this. Those that work, this comes from American taxpayers. And all American Indians I know that work are taxpayers. Leslie, you're a taxpayer. This is the holy grail of money. It's not net revenue back to tribes. We have got to get a full grip on our people that are about to lose homes. People that have lost their jobs, even within our government, even within our gaming. Those that live abroad have been hit hard. A lot of our Comanche people don't understand our second biggest populated area of absentees is California. So many Comanches have been devastated. Texas is right behind them. They're the #1 absentee Comanche Nation members. Devastated by not only the storm and being in the cold and no water. Now the governor of Texas is removing the face mask. So we already know the absentees are going to need some help, some helplines. So keep us all in prayer. Keep me in prayer. Let me do the right thing when these consults happen, so we get the right amount of approved money for our folks. And Forrest, I know you got somebody in D.C. that could help us. Rosette had that. We're going to need help guiding through the muddy waters of Washington, D.C. What's really sad about this long meeting, it's almost like I'm on a filibuster. The person from Wisconsin, he's a senator. He was elected by the people of Wisconsin. This is Senator Johnson. He's going to read this American Rescue Plan page by page. It's 571 pages. That's not saying, let's go help our American people. You Comanches that live in Wisconsin, send the letters. And one thing I need from all of you folks that got help with that CARES Act money, please, for the love of God, send in emails to our TA, to Shandell, to me, to Lenora, how it helped you. I can get texts all day long saying, thank God, Chairman, we had nothing. Lights were out. Thank God. I need your help, Comanche members. I need at least 1,000 emails, 1,000 testimonials. Shandell, how many people did we help on the first one? We had 12,000 head of households. The number was 9,000. Number 2, we gave out the second check. That number was raised to about 10,000. Number 3, we were running out of money, but we happened to help those with COVID and the elders. This is my request from you, tribal council members. Send in these testimonials. If you do not, we're going to be left at the table. So help me out to help us. God bless you. And I want to ask you, Lenora, send us on our way with good thoughts and a good heart, and pray for our people out there, will you?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for all your blessings upon our people. I pray a special blessing upon all of our people nationwide and our soldiers that are overseas. Be with our families that are suffering from COVID, that you would put your hand upon them and that you would heal their bodies and just be with our families that are grieving. I pray that you comfort them by your Holy Spirit. And Lord, we just thank you for guiding us through so many obstacles in the pandemic. And thank you for providing so many provisions for us. I ask that you continue to give us favor in the eyes of God and man, that we can continue the good work that you have begun here for our people and the good work that you have begun in each of our lives. I pray a special blessing upon our CBC, that you would just strengthen them and continue to lead us and guide us by your Holy Spirit. Thank you for healing June and John David Wani, because we know that your power is great, and we will continue to keep our eyes upon you, and we give you the praise and all the glory for all things. And we ask this in thy precious and holy name, Ta'apa. Amen.
Amen.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All right, we're gonna do it again.
Hey, before we vote, did we pass that election notice?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
All those in favor to go home, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those that want to sit here and dance, stay. Okay. Thank you, CBC. Thank you, nation.